This guy had never touched a video game in his entire life. Still, he insisted on challenging the world champion. He carried tons of confidence, and wound up beating the champion effortlessly, freeing Kakyoin in the process. After his friend's soul got stolen moments earlier, Jotaro volunteered to fight first, going up against Darby, the elite gamer. Strangely enough, he picked an overly complex baseball sim, which just so happened to be Darby's specialty. Back in their first showdown, Jotaro had picked up on something off right away. Darby could somehow predict every single move he planned to make. Unless he figured out the secret behind this trick, he stood zero chance of winning against Darby. The overly complicated baseball game was the perfect way to buy extra time. The problem was Jotaro had zero experience with this game, and kept swinging and missing every pitch. The lopsided score made his grandfather break out in cold sweat. Darby already had every batter's weaknesses memorized down pat. All he needed to do was aim for the outside corner of the plate, and he could wrap the game up right then and there. Right out of the blue, Jotaro said he was finally starting to get the hang of things. A sharp crack echoed as the bat connected cleanly with the ball. Jotaro crushed an impressive home run, putting his team on the scoreboard for the first big run. Darby was totally blown away. He never imagined Jotaro possessed such ridiculous natural talent. Jotaro picked up all the game mechanics in a short span of time, then kept knocking out home runs one after another. Per this baseball game's official rules, the match automatically ends once one team leads by 11 runs. Even so, Darby stayed completely calm. He still had his ace pitcher waiting as his secret weapon. Shortly after, Darby subbed in his overpowered hurler. This pitcher's fastball topped out at 165 km/h. Plus he could throw a full lineup of tricky breaking balls. Full of cockiness, Darby called out exactly where each pitch would land ahead of time. Jotaro swung following the announced fastball path, only nicking the very bottom of the baseball. One out was called, switching offense and defense. It was Darby's turn to bat, and he once again announced where he'd send the ball beforehand, to uncover Darby's hidden ability. Jotaro intentionally tossed an errant pitch straight toward the batter's body. Logically, this kind of throw couldn't possibly get hit cleanly, yet Darby shifted his body ahead of the pitch's arrival, and hammered another home run with ease. It finally dawned on Jotaro at that moment. Darby was able to read every thought running through his head. He quickly pulled his cap down over his eyes, blocking Darby's line of sight entirely. He even copied Darby's tactic by calling out his upcoming pitches in advance. Upon hearing this, Darby summoned his stand immediately, and confirmed Jotaro was telling the truth with his lie detection power. The second Jotaro released the ball, the supposed straight fastball morphed into a curveball right before impact. This sudden twist caught Darby totally off guard. When Jotaro called out his next pitch again, Darby rushed to run another truth check instantly, and every reading came back positive. Growing suspicious, Darby accused Jotaro of cheating. Jotaro admitted he'd cheated indeed. Darby was left utterly dumbfounded, since he hadn't spotted any dishonest moves whatsoever. With a smug grin, Jotaro fired back. A cheat that never gets caught doesn't count as cheating at all. Then he called out his next incoming pitch once more. This is the largest snake species on Earth. When its body stretches fully out, it can wrap around the planet 5 times. Its weight reaches an astonishing 50 trillion tons. Even its slightest movement causes violent tremors across the land. Right now, Komatsu and his companions ride a young serpent, speeding through dense woods. Their mission is to capture the legendary phantom crystal fish. The fish dwells deep inside the mysterious death waterfall. The waterfall boasts terrifying water pressure, capable of crushing anything into dust in an instant. The water stretches 10,000 meters deep, too harsh even for the queen serpent to traverse easily. The group barely arrived at the destination when two fierce beasts blocked their path. Toriko got ready to fight, yet a huge boulder swept down from the waterfall, dragging them down into the lake and ending their lives. Witnessing the scene, Komatsu grew filled with fear and wanted to turn back. Toriko and Sunny showed no hesitation at all. Sunny leaped straight down. He stood steadily on the water surface and wove his hair into a small boat thoughtfully, without asking Komatsu's opinion. Toriko grabbed him and jumped down together. They landed safely inside the hairboat. All set, the group headed toward the waterfall. The moment they entered the waterfall, water droplets cut like sharp blades and sliced open their skin. Sunny kept using his hair to shield them. The defense could not hold out for long. To rush through the dangerous waters quickly, Toriko gathered all his strength and delivered a powerful kick slash. He split the raging waterfall apart. The water closed back up instantly and surged even more violently. Toriko threw a series of punches right away, blasting a large hollow through the waterfall. Danger still lingered ahead. Huge logs and rocks swept along the current, charging straight toward them. Toriko fought hard to block the impact, accidentally carving out a passageway. The exhausting battle drained most of his stamina, leaving him gasping for breath. Just as everyone thought they could pass safely, the giant serpent sent out a warning signal. They looked ahead and were struck with sheer terror. A 6,000-meter tall mountain was rolling down along the waterfall flow. A direct collision would bring certain death. Trapped with no escape, they prepared to fight with all their might. Toriko pushed his body to the limit and unleashed fierce punches. Sunny channeled all his hair power to launch a powerful rebound, multiplying the punch force to strike the massive mountain. The devastating power completely shattered the mountain peak. A hidden cave came into view. As rocks and debris fell all around, the three rushed into the cave for safety. They collapsed onto the ground right after entering. Seeing his worn-out friends, Komatsu decided to search for the crystal fish alone. He planned to cook a hearty meal to repay their protection. Luck smiled on Komatsu soon. He spotted a shimmering golden glow. He followed the bright light. A golden pond appeared before his eyes. Golden fish leaped gracefully out of the water. These were the phantom crystal fish they traveled far to find. Komatsu quickly took out his fishing net, ready to catch the rare fish. He successfully netted one in no time. Filled with great excitement, the second he reached out to touch touch it. The crystal fish instantly turned lifeless. The man had just lifted his head when countless venomous frogs suddenly rained down from the sky. These frogs carried potent neurotoxins. Even the tiniest amount on the skin would cause severe festering and could even prove fatal. To make matters worse, the man was trapped in a corridor with no way out and would soon be completely swarmed by the frogs. Pucci immediately knew this was weather report's doing. It was clear the figure hiding in the shadows earlier was him. It came as no surprise to Pucci that he figured this out. A rain of frogs would be a bizarre sight anywhere else, but here at Green Dolphin Street Prison, it was just another ordinary weather-related disaster. Jolene also got caught in the frog attack. She used her stand to weave a net and block the falling creatures. Still, the venom slowly seeped through the gaps. Meanwhile, the ground around Pucci was piled high with dead frogs. He shouted desperately for help toward the doors, but nobody answered. Panic washed over Pucci. He began reciting prime numbers to calm himself down while trying to think of a way to escape. All at once, he remembered the prison guard under his control. He quickly ordered the man to come unlock the door. Before long, the guard arrived, already poisoned. He begged Pucci to rid him of the toxin. Pucci only demanded his access card, showing no concern for the man's life. Suddenly, the card was knocked away by a falling frog. The guard was also knocked unconscious in the impact. Just as despair set in for Pucci, another guard happened to walk by. Pucci hurried to ask him to open the metal gate. The guard stepped forward to help, but saw the field of toxic frogs on the ground, then turned and fled in terror. Seeing his chance slip away, Pucci kicked one of the frogs hard. The flying venom blinded the guard instantly. The blinded guard had no choice but to pull Pucci to safety first and told him to go find more help. Pucci paid no mind to the guard's fate whatsoever. Recovering Jotaro's memory disk was his top priority above everything else. Jolene was still fighting to stay alive. Venom was about to break through her protective net, and her abdominal wound kept bleeding heavily. She was on the verge of collapsing, yet she suddenly dismissed her stand's net. After what felt like a long time, the rain of toxic frogs finally stopped. Pucci sent his stand, White Snake, to retrieve the disc. As soon as White Snake stepped into the courtyard, it spotted Jolene buried under piles of frogs and found the disc nearby. Jolene was still alive. She had figured out the key to survival. The frogs only splattered their venom when they hit the ground and broke apart. Uninjured frogs posed no threat at all. She wove the living frogs into a makeshift net. The soft cushion stopped the frogs from bursting on impact. Enraged at being outwitted, White Snake moved to kill Jolene and take the disc, but the disc was snatched away in an instant. It was Jolene's pigeon. Humiliated and furious after being tricked twice, Pucci ordered White Snake to grab a guard's gun. When White Snake pulled the trigger, it found the magazine had already been emptied by the guard earlier. White Snake prepared to launch another attack, but sensed other guards approaching. To avoid being discovered, it was forced to retreat. Seizing the moment, Jolene wrapped her string around White Snake's ankle, hoping to follow it straight to Pucci. Unfortunately, a crowd suddenly gathered around Pucci. He grew extra alert, noticed the thin string, and cut it without hesitation. Jolene's plan failed, and she passed out. The man hurt his own body just to survive. He thought he could fool his foe easily, yet the metal hook kept closing in on his heart. Brugalotti had no choice but to split his heart open. He barely survived the deadly strike. In another carriage, Beishi sensed no heartbeat from Brugalotti. He pulled his hook line back right away. Once the danger passed, Brugalotti tried to repair his damaged heart. He lost hope as his heart had stopped beating for far too long. Just then, Beishi frantically kicked the driver's cabin. He forced the train to halt immediately. Brugalotti's body parts shifted and piled up chaotically. His heart resumed beating again. He stepped back onto the battlefield, facing Beishi once more. Firm resolve filled Brugalotti's eyes. To him, this battle was one he could never afford to lose. Beishi suddenly flung out the hook line. Brugalotti rushed straight toward his enemy. Beishi foresaw every single move he made. The fishing line pierced right through Brugalotti's torso. It severely wounded his heart precisely. Blood gushed out of Brugalotti's mouth instantly. Beishi believed victory was already his. Brugalotti endured the sharp agony. He summoned his stand without hesitation. He seized one end of the hook line. He swung it fiercely. The line coiled tightly around Beishi's neck. He twisted the man's head a full 180 degrees. Stubborn Beishi still clung to life. He took Shiomei hostage at once. He pulled out the turtle holding their trapped companions. He intended to use his last strength to drag everyone down with him. Brugalotti looked down on such conduct. He thought Beishi had turned into a despicable coward. As the turtle was about to get crushed, Brugalotti shot his arm forward in time. He landed a heavy punch straight on Beishi's face. He kept throwing violent punches non-stop. When the fight finally came to an end, all members of Brugalotti's team broke free from the aging state. A strange claw mark appeared on the ground beneath Shiomei. It proved she was also a stand user. Her power had not fully awakened yet. Tougher battles still lay ahead of them.